Today, a rainy day in New York City, we revisit Jimmy back on the corner of 23rd and 7th Avenue and pick up where we left off. Today, Jimmy covers an unusual record from Gil Evans and a very unusual record, an almost impossible to find record by the great drummer TonyOxley. Please see the end of the video or the information box below the video for musical snippets and album credit.
Here we have the exalted arranger, Miles Davis cohort, pianist, keyboardist, postmodernist Gil Evans. Gil is an astonishing figure because he changed the game in terms of how orchestral arranging, how the concept of the advances of harmony and the structure in the later period of the developments could be implemented with a larger ensemble. And so, he's the person who actually makes this happen. So you have Duke Ellington. Gil Evans is the guy that just, takes it to the next level. However, with Gil, there was a certain middling period in his career where he was enthralled with rock music, with Jimi Hendrix, with certain things that were happening, and took on projects that were not uninteresting, but some of them come off better than others. And that a number of the projects that involve that postmodern feeling of electronics and other more modern popular genres of music come off better when they've been recorded in Europe and Japan. And this one here is, I believe, is in that category. Primarily because he has a big band of Japanese musicians who are extremely enthusiastic about working with him. I mean, they're besides themselves working with this legend. And then he's got a wonderful keyboardist who's playing a really kooky keyboard, MASABUMI KIKUCHI, who is fitting in just perfectly with this session. So between the two of them, there's almost like a communication, like some sort of thing between them with the orchestral padding between them. And the interesting thing within the orchestra is that Marvin Peterson and Billy Harper are key soloists on this record. And Billy Harper is no slub. Again, but this record, do not snooze on it if you find it. It's a rare Japanese pressing on Philips of this session with two great soloists and these two guys conspiring together to make a very interesting large band modern session. I'm coming from a left turn in the bunch here with a record that is, diametric to everything else we've talked about so far today. This is the British jazz scene of the late 1960s. The British scene really starts taking hold in the mid to late 1950s, where amazing instrumentalists, not all from Britain either. I mean, some from Joe Harriot's from Barbados, Ernest Rangland is from Jamaica. A lot of these cats are settling in London, and so along with the natives who are amazing musicians, all of this is incubating into a scene in London that is astonishing. But because it's such a small island, and it's kind of self-contained, we go through that period not really realizing how much amazing resource has come out of the scene there. This record is an indication of this. This record is the Baptized Traveler by TonyOxley. TonyOxley is one of the great European avant-garde drummers. In fact, I'll just say one of the great European jazz, because he's flexible. He comes out of a military environment. He was in a regiment. He was drafted into the service post-World War II. He joined the marching band, and he had a snare drum. And he learned his rudiments doing that. Came out and expanded on himself. started jamming with people, fell in with the right people. Eventually, he fell in with Derek Bailey. So they're compadres, they're practicing together, incubating together over a span of 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So this is a bit later, after that incubation period, because by now he's already been the house drummer at Ronnie Scott's. So he's played with everybody from Blossom Dearie to Sonny Rollins and everybody in between in every musical situation. So he's very flexible. So the thing is, he can play free, he can play implied, he can play direct rhythm, in any format you want. And this record is it's a spiritual journey. It's a personal spiritual journey with 4 parts, similar to A Love Supreme, although the record is nothing like A Love Supreme at all. Whereas Coltrane is signifying something else that is very spiritual and very beautiful and very metaphorical and very personal. This here is more about the experiential aspect of the spiritual journey as it relates to a modern person, which means that at some point we have upheaval and there's chaos and we're confronted with it. And how do we deal with it? The first cut is called Crossing, and it's dealing with that. And then over time, settling into that area of peace. So the record proceeds into a very solemn tone with a lot of texture. I mean, all these musicians, Oxley, Derek Bailey, Kenny Wheeler, Evan Parker, they're just, it's like one unit here. They're totally simpatico with each other. I highly recommend this record. It is a masterpiece. And there are only 50 crowns in the last issue of the Penguin Jazz Guide. This record gets one of them. And it deserves it, because it is one of the avant-garde masterpieces in the world between 1965 and 1975.